All right, we are going live. Get us all set up here. Heck yeah. Hello, everyone. Hi, and welcome to the second night of Pool Party, Jewelry Making Party with Jessie James Keys and Softlex Company. Oh, we've got Deb Floros here. And wow, what good spirit you have, Deb, with that wonderful fan. I love this. So Deb is here tonight. Let me just brief everybody about what we're doing here. This is night 2 of our 2-night jewelry making event with Jessie James Beads and Softlex Company. If you purchase the kit, that is the Jessie James Beads Pool Party Kit, and also the Softlex Company Findings Kit, then you are in luck because you get to be part of night 2 of our jewelry making event. So yesterday we did a couple bracelets, we did a couple pairs of earrings, and tonight I think we've got necklaces and earrings in store for us, all with this fabulous kit that JJB put together, and of course the wire and the findings from Softlex. We are kicking off right now with Deb Floros, and then in an hour we've got Sara Oehler. If you're part of this whole event, we also have a private Zoom party for you. But right now, please, everyone give a warm round of applause and a warm welcome to the amazing Deb Floros. Hello, Deb.
Hi. Happy Friday and happy pool party.
Okay, can we put an exclamation point on the Friday and the pool party, but yes, Friday. We made it, and we've got jewelry making in store for us. So Deb, tell us as people are coming in, I know where you're coming in from, but tell everyone about yourself and where you're hailing from these days. Where are we making jewelry from, Deb?
Well, I'm Deb Floros, and I am in Cave Creek, Arizona, which is about 45 minutes from Phoenix proper. And we're about 5 degrees cooler than the Phoenix area, but it's still 105 today. So a dip in the pool is a perfect thing for tonight. And I've got my little fan here to cool me off while we've got some hot lights over us.
To add to that Arizona heat, let's just turn on all the jewelry making lamps. Why don't you?
Why not? Let's go for it.
That is awesome. So we are really excited to have Deb here as part of this event, representing Jessie James Beads. Brittany Chavers last night, and we also had Joyce and Sara Oehler coming up late. Joyce was yesterday. Sarah's coming up later. But Deb, I really love watching you create and all the love that you put into jewelry. Deb has got a brand online. It's called Deb Loves Jewelry Design. I got this right, correct?
Yes.
And Deb is always known, my take on your designs, is always big, bold, wear your heart on your sleeve sort of jewelry design.
Yes, absolutely. That's described perfectly, Sarah. Thank you.
And what Deb has got in store for us tonight, I feel honestly hits that design. I feel that hits that wear your heart on your sleeve, wear your heart on your necklace, term of phrase completely and perfectly. We put together these kits that by the way, if you have not gotten a pool party kit yet, we actually have a few more over at Jessie James Beads and over at Softlex Company. But anyhow, what we did was we put these kits out and we give them to the designers, and we allow our designers to choose what beads they want to work with, what wire they want to work with. And Deb, I was really excited when you went for this strap.
It was absolute kismet for me. I mean, this is my love language. Pink, sparkly, all of it. I mean, just so much fun.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Awesome. So, okay, I have a couple of people here in the comments that I just want to call to note before we get into this jewelry making project. But Kristen Fagan from Softlex says, and this is so beautiful, she says that Deb has gorgeous designs. Her style is totally my cup of tea. Kristen, you and me both. That's so fantastic.
Thank you, Kristen. That's so sweet.
And Softlex Company says that they're so excited for this design also. So Deb, do you want to share with us what it is that we're going to be making? I also got my tools out. I'm planning on making along with us. Great way to unwind on a Friday for all of us to get together, to take a dive into the hypothetical pool that we have here and have a little party.
Yes. Well, I will always have a little bit of a story behind what I made. So my designs are the Pool Posh necklace and the Pool Posh earrings. And I like to think of these as, so you're out by the pool, you're not necessarily going to be swimming. So this is like an evening party. And oh, by the way, Deb Floros does not swim. I mean, like really swim. I'm a heck of a doggy paddler, but I can't swim. So I like to kind of hang out by the pool, wear some cute jewelry, wear a cute outfit, that kind of thing. So this is a collection all about that. So that's what these pieces are about. Now, I wouldn't wear these swimming anyways, but you can always take them off and then dive in the pool. So if you are a swimmer, you most certainly can do that if you would like. But I'm thinking, I'm out by the pool, I'm sipping on something. Now tonight, I have my little floating crab with some pink lemonade, which is the name of my strand. But I would, think of myself with maybe a glass of champagne, and it would be plastic because you shouldn't have glass by the pool. But that's what this is. That's what the story behind this necklace and earrings is.
Love it. Okay, so now we've heard the story. Can you show us the piece and let us see where we're going to be going on our?
Yes. So I've got everything laid out on my my hand cam here. So the necklace is this amazing collection of sparkle, collection of beads, and it all comes from the pink lemonade strand. The earrings are a little less glam and posh. They have a little bit of whimsy to them because the beads here are actually kind of look like a little beach ball, I thought. So if you just want to wear earrings with a little bit of sparkle, you've got those. But you could wear them both together if you so desire. But the necklace is just pure glam, just pure posh glam for sure.
Great. They look fabulous, Deb. I am excited. I have my pink lemonade strand out right now. I've got my cup chain. Deb, take us on a jewelry making adventure. Let's dive in with Deb Floros for the pool party featuring Jessie J Softlex.
All right, we're ready to go. So first of all, when I opened up the package and the satin pink bag jumped out, I literally lost my mind because this is my signature color for my brand. So this just immediately got me excited. So I was thrilled to be able to use this strand of beads. So the strand is called Pink Lemonade, and this is it. And I have to say, Sara, James, that this is the most spectacular strand I've worked with thus far. Probably now my favorite. I'll probably have a new favorite sometime soon. But this, as of right now, this is all Deb. Like this strand is all me for sure.
Deb Floros, you're making me blush behind the
So this is a strand we're going to use for both of our designs, and we're going to use almost all of it, but you'll have a few little pieces and parts left over to make maybe another pair of earrings or something. Also from the Jessie James Beads kit, we have this rhinestone chain or rhinestone cup chain. And also in the packet are the little connector pieces that go with it. So when you guys pull that out, be very careful that you don't fling these little connectors all over the place because we need those little guys for our design. That's the magic of connection with those. Excuse me. Then from the Softlex package, we are going to use my favorite Softlex wire color, which is pink tourmaline. I mean, hello, look at this. I mean, it's like the perfect match. The chain, the cup chain, the strand, and this beading wire is total kismet. I mean, just perfection. So this is now my favorite Softlex color. I'm not sure this could be replaced, but we'll see. We're also going to use the Softflex 22 gauge craft wire, which you should have in your kit. Super shiny, very, very useful for so many projects. We're going to be using 4 crimp tubes. And in case you haven't heard this already, Softflex has the best crimp tubes. So we're going to use those. Also from this findings package, we're going to need 1 lobster claw and ear wires from this little packet. So here's a look. Oh, and I should tell you guys, I had to use something that's not in your kit. So while I finish telling you about all of this, I have 6 4mm jump rings that I used as bails essentially for my cup chain, my rhinestone chain. So I'm sure you guys have some jump rings stashed away somewhere. You'll need those to finish up the necklace project. So let me just set this aside 1 second so I can show you what tools you need, because we're going to need quite a few for these pretty simple projects. You're going to need a bead stopper if you've got one of those. If you don't, you can use a piece of tape. You're going to need a pen. I think everybody has those. You might want to use a ruler. I'm not going to use a ruler, but you might need one if you feel comfortable with a ruler versus eyeballing things. You need a cutter. You need some flat nose pliers. I'm actually using 2 different kinds. You need round nose pliers, and you need a crimping tool. And if you have a magical crimper, that would be ideal. Truth be told, I didn't own one. I ordered one. I hoped it was going to be here for the workshop. It's not. So I'm just going to use a regular crimper. It's perfectly fine for this project, but the magical crimper is fantastic. And as you can see, I have no allegiance to any tool company. I've got a mishmash of everything here. So I'm going to move everything off to the side, and I'm going to bring back my little tray. And what we're going to start with is, and if you want to cut the Softflex wire while we talk about the rhinestone chain, you're going to need about 30 inches of the pink tourmaline. You may not need all of it, but I'd rather you cut a little bit more. I normally work from the spool when I make something, but because of the way we're making our focal section, you really can't string everything on first. You've got to cut a piece and start stringing from the center. So if you want to cut 30 inches while we get started here, we're going to need that. And let me just show you a little close up of, we're going to start with the rhinestone chain or the cup chain. And I want to talk a little bit about cup chain, because if you've never worked with it, it's a little different to work with, and it can be a little tricky. So let me show you. Why do they call it cup chain? They call it cup chain because you see, those look like little cups. This is not a link chain. This is a chain essentially of little bezels that have rhinestones set in them. So you'll hear people call this rhinestone chain. You'll hear people call this cup chain. And the little metal pieces that hold it together allow it to kind of articulate or expand and contrast. I don't know if that's coming across super well, but you can see it kind of moves in and out. So this chain is really, really beautiful. I use this kind of chain in a lot of designs. I use it to embellish things. You might see me use it in bracelets or wrap it around a pendant. I love this stuff. It's wonderful. And this pink and gold is spectacular. Now, one thing that's tricky about the cup chain is, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but when you cut it, you'll see there's that little piece of metal sticking out at the end there. That's that little articulating piece that's in between the cups. You might cut it and think you've gotten it off, but you may not have gotten it all. So I always encourage that you clean up your design a little bit by cutting it off. So hang down your chain piece and give that another little snip. And now you've got a clean end, nothing's hanging out of it. I know we're like getting real tiny here on our camera, but I've got that cleaned up. So that's something to be mindful of. Now, normally, when we need a certain length of something, you could say, oh, you need 2 inches or 1.5 inches or whatever. I worry about giving you a measurement for this because, as I said, this stuff moves in and out. And I'm such a freak about not making a mistake that I would rather you count the little cups, the little rhinestones versus a measurement. Now, if you're really good at working with cup chain, I'll tell you, our center piece is a little bit longer than the other 2 pieces. You need a 2-inch piece and 2 1.5-inch pieces. But I'm going to show you what I do. And I know it's a little bit OCD, but I actually count. So I need 1 piece of the cup chain with 15 cups or 15 rhinestones. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15. And I'm going to grab that guy. And that may be a little bit too OCD for you, but I'm going to cut my chain. So I need to hold on to that. And I'm going to double check at the end of my chain to see if I've got that little end cleaned up. Okay, so that's going to be my center piece. Now I need 2 pieces with 12. I know, OCD over the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And if you weren't watching, I'd probably count it twice. But I don't, I at the risk of being completely crazy for you guys, I'm not going to.
I totally just counted twice.
What do they say? Measure twice, cut once.
Yeah.
That's kind of my philosophy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And I'm going to cut that piece. And I'm going to cut that last little tiny piece. Come on out of there, buddy. All right. So we've got our 3 pieces. Now, I need a pinky swear from all of you guys. This is a time to take a deep breath. Some deep breaths, some relaxing breaths. Nobody needs to bring their muscles or their brute force to this part of the project. We need soft, relaxed. This is going to be the hardest thing we do. And by the way, we're going to use the rest of this chain. So I'm going to put it back in the bag. And we need 3 of these guys for the necklace. I'm going to put the other 3 back in the bag. All right, here's what we need to do. This is another thing about cup chain. So as I said, it's not a link chain, right? Or it's not a link chain. So we don't have loops to connect this chain to. There are all kinds of hacks that you'll find out on, if you search the web, there's little tips and tricks. We're going to actually use part of a hack for the earrings, but this is how the magic happens with cup chain. These little tiny connector pieces. So this is essentially another little cup. And we're going to drop the end of our chain into this. And if you can see it, we're going to fold over those little prongs. That's going to be a little challenging, just going to be upfront with you guys. So we just need to be very careful because We don't have extras of these, so we don't want to scrunch this up too bad. And 2, we're working with rhinestones, so we don't want to crush up our rhinestone. And what you'll see at the very end is this loop. And that loop is that's the ticket to connecting these little pieces of chain to your necklace. So this isn't easy for me either. So I'm going to go slow and I'm going to be zen. I have the added pressure of everyone watching me. So we'll see how I do with this. Now, I'm going to use my pliers that are dipped in Tool Magic. Those seem to help me a little bit with these. So I'm going to start with my longest piece first. What you want to do is drop your very last rhinestone into that little cup, and you want to push it down, and you want it to be flush with the bottom of that piece. Now, you probably can't see that here, but you want it to be flush. And then what you want to do is push those little prongs around your rhinestone, because if you don't have a secure connection with those prongs, your piece of rhinestone chain is going to slide right out of this little connector. So because this is so small, you can't necessarily get a great grip on it and do this at the same time. So I'm going to very gently push that over. And I don't know if you guys will actually even be able to see me really do this very well. I think I've got the first prong over, and then I'm going to try, see? So I'm going to try and get that second one over. And it's almost like if you go on a diagonal with your pliers, that you have a better chance of not squishing. It's a very technical jewelry term, not squishing your rhinestone. And I'm kind of just very gently pushing on the top of that, and I'm giving it a little tug. So I've got my prongs around that pretty good. I feel good about that one. That wasn't too painful. Breathe in, breathe out, guys, because this is little stuff, and it's like sparkly rhinestone stuff. And we don't want to crush our little rhinestones. I would be crushed if I crushed my pink rhinestone.
You are hilarious.
I'm corny.
And I just have to say that you are verbally explaining this perfectly. Okay. And everyone in the crowd is super excited to learn how to use this cup chain and the cup chain connector. So kudos, my friend.
All right. Well, we'll see how I do with the other two. Hopefully I don't have a meltdown right on camera here. All right, let me see. See, that one did not go very well. So so some of the little connectors are open a little bit more than the others. So some might be a little easier to get your piece into, and some might not.
If those prongs are closed a little bit, you can also get your pliers in there and just open up the prong a little bit before you even set the cup chain down in it.
Absolutely. Just be careful not to get your tiny little prong messed up in the process. But the other thing is, you might actually even bend your little loop a little bit by accident, but those can very easily be bent back flat if they need to be. All right, so I haven't used any 4-letter words yet. That's good. Sara might not invite me back.
I'm okay with 4-letter words. Keep it real here, I think that we can. I'll try to hit the bleep button really fast.
There's not a 3-second delay on these things, right? So this one, feel like it needs a little bit of oomph to get it in there. And I feel like see, that one didn't go. So if you just get the edge like almost on a diagonal, that's the perfect spot to get it. I think I got this one too. Wow. So as I was making my my example piece, I must say, it took me many tries to get that one. And I'm noticing I've got a little bit of my metal coming out of the bottom here. Oops, as I hit my camera. So check that out, guys. 3 pieces. Those little connector pieces are worth their weight in gold because they are like, that's the way to use them. That's the way to get your cup chain to be functional and to be added to pieces. You can take long pieces and put them you can make a bracelet with them. So those little connector pieces are money. All right. So as I mentioned, I had to use jump rings of my own because it was the only way I could make this work. So let me show you what I did. I added jump rings to each of the little connector loops. And I added 2 to each because I feel like this kind of created the illusion of a bail because there's more of them. Like if there were just 1 on each, it wouldn't look as substantial. So with 2, it kind of has a little bit more of a bail effect. It has a little bit more weight to it.
It looks
So that's kind of what one of my design tips is. If you can use more than 1 jump ring, sometimes it looks more aesthetically pleasing, but sometimes you can't fit them in whatever it is you're trying to connect. But I sometimes, I go with the philosophy, if I can fit it, I'm going to use more than 1 because it just makes it look more substantive. All right. So now I'm going to connect my jump rings to my chain. And these then will just slide right onto our soft flex wire. Oops. Maybe adding the jump rings is the hardest part to this. I don't know. Maybe. Let's see. These are small jump rings. So they're like 4 millimeter. So those I find are a little hard to work with. But I really love this size actually. Oh, well, that one's gone. Grab one more. That'll be a cat toy later. All right, grab this. So these connectors actually very comfortably fit 2 jump rings. All right, so that's one. This might be a little bit like watching paint dry, putting jump rings on things, but some of you might actually still be working on your cup chain. So give you a little time to catch up on that. I was telling Sara earlier while we were getting ready to start that I wanted to be out by my pool tonight, but my Wi-Fi, for one, is not strong enough to be out there. But they also had to drain it yesterday because there's some kind of spring crud in it from all the stuff flying around and the heat ramping up here in Arizona. So even if I was out there tonight, we would hear water filling my pool, and that's just not a sound I would like to talk over.
Deb, slide your hands to the left just a little bit. I know we're just opening, closing, and jump rings right now, but it's still nice. It's still nice to watch you work.
Sorry.
Yeah, but Deb, how nice to have a pool, and that pool will be ready to rock and roll for you real soon. And look at all this posh pool jewelry that you'll have for yourself.
Yes. So I just have a little fanny dipper pool, like literally because I don't swim. That's part of that was part of the allure of this house is it had a pool, but not a big pool. Just a small pool for two people that don't swim. Believe it or not, I married someone who can't swim either. So we both can't swim. So we have this little fanny dipper pool that's actually quite perfect for us.
I really love that name for it, Deb.
And I'm out there with my noodle swimming around. I'm sure if anybody actually could see me, they're like, "Oh, she's a weirdo." All right. So we've got our chain ready to go, guys. And the next thing I want to do is cut my strand of beads. If you haven't already done that, probably should have done that already. These beauties, my new favorite Jesse James bead strand. Look at those ladies. Fantastic. We're going to use almost all of these between the two projects.
I'm so excited.
So this is like, this should have my name on it. Like this is epic.
Yes. The Deb boho bead. I love it. Have a great ring to it, Deb Floros.
We're going to use these, which are exactly the color of pink lemonade. I'm thirsty. We're going to use these sparkly beauties. Oh my gosh, they are fabulous. We're going to use these rondelles with the rhinestones. So fantastic. We're going to use these two star spacers. And then we're going to use 4 of these guys. They're like almost like snowflake spacers. And that's all we're going to use for this this project for the necklace. So let me find something to actually put the rest in so that I don't have this all in the shot. And it's amazing how many pieces and parts you get in these strands. So many good things. So come on, little guy. All right. So now we're going to grab our soft flex beading wire, and we're going to go with about 30 inches. And I'm eyeballing it, but if you've got a ruler and you so desire to use your ruler, you can. And I really like working from a spool, but you can't in this case because we're doing a little something unique at the bottom. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to string on our amazing Deb Floros bead. That's it. I'm calling it the Deb Floros bead.
I love it.
And then on either side of our Deb Floros bead, we're going to add these amazing star beads. And we do have to work them from side to side like that. Now, we want to create, let me show you what we're going to create. We want to create this little loop down at the bottom. How do we do that? First of all, we're going to string on our cup chain. Now, make sure that when you string it on facing all the same direction, because you'll be sad if you string it on in the wrong direction. And you have your longest piece in the center. So I'm literally going to pass my wire through all three. And before I do anything, I'm going to make sure, oh, now see, I got one going in the wrong direction. And since there's 2 jump rings, you got to get them through all the jump rings. All right. So what we're going to do now, Deb, get this stuff out of the way. We are going to go with one of our ends back around and through our spacers and our bead. So I'm going to take one end, pick whatever end you desire, put it through your bead and your both spacers. And that's going to create a loop at the bottom. And what I like to do is just kind of shimmy this a little bit so that I try and get my strands up top fairly even. They don't have to be exact. And as you work with this, guys, this cup chain is going to move around and it's probably going to drive you a little bit crazy. And even when you're not wearing it, it might move around a little bit, but it should lay very nicely as you wear it. And give yourself a little bit of slack down at the bottom. Okay. And then I'm going to work I'm going to take my next pieces and I'm going to do 1, 1, 1, 1. You could slide them all on in one direction, then slide all the ones on the other side. Totally personal preference. I want to do it this way because I don't want to mess it up. Oh, and you know what other beads we need? We need the little, I forgot. We need these little bright pink sparkly cuties. Lord have mercy.
Deb, can you come on the Jesse James team and just name all of our beads for us?
I can. It'll all be really hokey names.
I love it.
So the little beads are going to be next. And this almost looks like a little spaceman at this point. But after we do the little pink beads, we're going to add our beautiful rhinestone rondelles, and they should sit up nicely against that small bead. So then the next thing is these amazing sparkly pink beads. Now, Sarah, you probably won't like the name I'm giving these, but these almost are like a Pepto-Bismol pink. But you know, Pepto-Bismol can be your best friend at times. So.
It really can. It really can. I think we all know that.
And Pepto-Bismol really isn't that sparkly. So anyway. So
Pepto-Bismol's big night out.
All right. So then we're going to do one of these little almost snowflake looking spacers. And that's going to go, I'm just going to finish up this side. The little snowflakes are going to surround the little pink lemonade rectangle. And then over here, add these guys. And one last thing here. Now, we've got our section of our necklace with all the pizzazz. Now, the beauty of soft flex wire is this wire won't be invisible, even though it's just a strand of wire. It won't be invisible because it's this amazing shade of pink. So I'm just going to adjust that a little bit there. And then I'm going to grab my bead stopper. You could use tape if you don't have a bead stopper, but guys, these are like the greatest tools ever. I'm going to stick that bead stopper on one end and I'm going to crimp this section so that this section stays intact and doesn't move around. You're already going to have some movement with the chain having that little flexibility there. but I want the rest of this to be tight. So we are going to grab a couple of our crimp tubes. Have you guys heard that the soft flex crimp tubes are like the best?
Heard that one. Complex crimp tubes for the win.
For the win. All right. Now, if you had the magical crimpers, we could make this really look very finished, but guys, at the end of the day, no one's going to notice that you used a regular crimper. And I'm going to crimp. Come on now, crimp. And I always do one more little squish for good measure.
A good luck squish.
Right. Yes. All right, now I can take off my bead stopper, grab my other crimp tube, and I'm gonna let gravity do a little bit of the work here. And I'm just gonna kind of let that settle down there. And then crimp. And I think I gave it a little bit of play, which is always good. Just give it a little bit of play. So now I've got my focal section ready to go. And this is like the easiest closure ever. We're just going to add a lobster claw, and we don't need a ring or a jump ring or anything on the other side because we can make a loop with the soft flex wire. That's what I love about working with soft flex wire is there's something about when you use other beading wire that when it's bare like that, it just doesn't look good. But soft flex looks great because it's colorful. It's the same color as your project. And it makes it, I don't know, it just makes it work. So I'm going to actually, here's a point, guys, where you might want to check your length. So if you don't like the length, you can make it shorter. Obviously, we can't make it longer since we cut it from the package, but here's your opportunity to make it shorter if you want. So I'm going to, sorry, getting a little rogue here. I'm going to string on my first crimp, and I'm going to string on my lobster claw, and super easy. I'm going to create just a little bit of a loop at the end here. And crimp away. It's just so easy. You don't need a lot of extra hardware because the pink just looks so fabulous. I am going to snip off. I'm going to snip off my excess here. Okay, so I've got that. And then I'm going to create just a loop on the other end, which is amazing. And, you know, this necklace doesn't really need to have much going on in the back because it's a total party in the front.
Oh, I love that.
Sometimes I like to have a party in the back too, but in this case, we're not going to do that. We're just going to have a party in the front.
Party in the front where everyone can see it. Everyone's invited.
All right, so then we're just going to trim off that little bit of excess. And we have a finished, posh pool party necklace. Oops,
Wow.
get it closed. We got a necklace.
That looks beautiful. Deb, try and bring that over to the left just a little bit. Yes. Yes. Looks so good.
And like I said, it will look a little wonky, but I've road tested this, meaning I've worn it around and it should hang pretty well. If it's sized right, especially, so if you have it sitting at a place where it's not sort of getting in the way of other things, it should lay quite nicely.
And when you're making this, if you think that you're going to want it smaller or longer, you can measure your wire out before you even get going.
Absolutely. And I would say, test, grab grab your spool and pull it out, kind of pull it around your neck and account for, you're going to have a couple of extra inches, maybe another inch extra for going around this bead. So just something to think about, but you can make it shorter. You could even do this choker style. And if you guys know me, I love a good choker. Ooh. So you could also do this choker style if you wanted.
Looks fantastic, Deb.
Thank you. What do we think about making some earrings now? Should we do that?
I think that sounds like a fantastic idea.
Okay. I'm actually going to put on the necklace behind the scenes here because I have my matching dress on to go with it. My pool party dress. All right. So here's our fun little earrings. And tell me, do these beads not look like beach balls?
They really do. I love that.
So you're going to grab those, and they are polymer clay. They are large hole, and they are fabulous. Oh my gosh, they are so cute. And then we're going to need 4 of these little polymer clay spacers. Now, these are not like fluff, guys. These aren't fillers for these strands. These are very usable pieces. And if you have these, hold on to them because you're going to have projects where you want to use these. They are so cute and fun, and they're perfect for these. We also are going to use these really lovely bead caps, and we're going to use them a little different because we're not going to use them as a traditional bead cap, but we're going to use them to create kind of a fun, whimsical design. So here's what you have left, guys. You could literally make, a pair of earrings, or even use some of these as focals for a small bracelet. So you've still got beads after you make a necklace and a pair of earrings. So I'm going to set those off to the side so we can at least see them. And I move these over. And then we're going to use the 22 gauge craft wire, which is my gauge of wire that I like to use the most. It's probably the easiest on the hands, but still has some strength to it and isn't going to be too crazy flexible. And then, guys, we're going to pull out the rest of our cup chain, and we are going to need to be zen just 2 more times. Now, I'm going to use what's left. So you see how long these are? You could make them a little bit shorter if you would like. So, but I'm going to literally take what's left and cut it in half. So I'm going to find my halfway point. And because it's hanging, I can be pretty confident that I've gotten it right. So I've got 2 pieces. And I actually did not count the cups in this case because I just split it in half. But you see, it's even. Now, we have 3 connectors left. If I had 4, I would connect here and here, and then I would add both to the end. But we only have 3. So you're going to learn a little technique because of that. So we're going to take our connectors and we're going to add them to our little piece of chain again. And actually, I got to cut that little end off because it's not perfect. So we need to be zen again, deep breaths. Got to get that little guy in there. Come on now. I think I can. I think I can.
I know you can. I know you can.
All right, let's see if I can get that little prong over. Okay, I think I got that one. To get it. We do the test. Yay, I got it. Okay, so I got that one on. Checking for my little piece of metal. And yes, I got to cut this too. Come out of there, little guy. Okay. Let's see if I can get that last one. Now I can already tell this one is just a little bit too tight. And I'm going to press this one over and press that one over. Give it a little squeeze. Oh, yes. Okay. Well, wait a minute. Doesn't feel quite right to me. There we go. All right. So we're going to now use a little trick. And you can, if you didn't want to use silver, you could use some gold wire, but we're actually mixing it up on here. I'm going to grab probably, I'm terrible at measuring, like, so I'm going to probably go about, it's probably about 3 inches of wire. This is also a little bit tricky, but you're going to need some muscle for this. So we're going to double it up. So see what we've done here. We've doubled it up and we've wrapped a little bit of wire around the cup chain to give it that looped effect. Now, I keep hearing Brittany's words from her session yesterday that these guys are going to try and do their own thing and you're not going to let them. So you're not going to let this cup chain do what it wants to do. It's going to try and spin around. But see how I've got my 2 ends back to back and that loop is up top. So you don't want to hinder that loop. We want that loop to be up so that we can actually use it. And I'm going to pull my wire around. I'm going to pull on it. I'm going to muscle it a little bit. Had my Cheerios this morning. And you're really going to want it to go around one, probably twice. And you want it to sit into that groove. I'm not doing a great job of showing this here. You want it to be in that groove between those 2 pieces. So I'm pulling on that wire. Okay. So I've got it around, give it one more nudge around. And then I'm going to snip off the excess. And snip off the excess over here. Okay. And then what I like to do, and here you need to be a little bit careful. I'm just going to give this a little bit of a squish because you're going to have some little, maybe some little pieces of wire that might be trying to say hello. And so now I've got this loop. Now I've seen people that don't have these little connectors actually do a technique similar to this, and they create a loop with the wire and then have it go around. We have a connector, so I'm using it. But this is a way for us to have this little teardrop effect. All right. So we're going to do that one more time. Let's see if I can do this. How are we doing on time, Sarah?
We're doing pretty good. We've got Sara Oehler in the waiting room. She's just come to the pool. But we're at 7:55 right now.
Okay. Let me just finish the one then.
Yeah, show us the one earring, and then if anyone had any tricky slippies with this one, don't slip at the pool.
Don't run.
This on replay. This will be available on replay till the end of time, more or less. And I know that Softflex always posts these videos to their blog as well after the fact, and we'll email you a link when it's ready. But anyhow, yeah, Deb, finish up this earring for us. And then if anyone has any questions about anything technical, I'm pretty sure they can reach out and ask you.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to create a little wire wrapped section for our other pieces. So I'm just going to do a wire wrapped loop up here. And sorry.
Come on over left side a little bit more, Deb.
I'm going rogue. All right, so I'm going to trim that off, and then I'm going to slide on my little pink polymer piece. And then rather than using my bead caps to go around my bead like this, we're going to go the opposite way. So we're actually going to make we're going to make a little nest for that polymer clay bead there. And then that means this bead cap is going to sit into that large hole bead, which I love because it'll kind of keep it from moving around so much with a wire wrap design like this. So we're going to slide that second one on the little polymer piece, and then we are going to create our loop. And don't close it up because you're going to attach your rhinestone dangle. And I'm going to grab my pliers, hold that together. And I want to, sorry, I keep hitting the camera. I want to do a little bit of a longer wrap down here because I want to tie the silver. So I've got a little bit of silver on my cup chain, and then I'm using a silver ear wire. So I want to have some of this wrap be visible. And I actually want to straighten this up just a touch because it's a little bit wonky.
Yeah, let's see that close to the camera, what you just did there with that detail.
So I just wrapped more times than I did up top. So I just did a couple of wraps around that loop up top. And then I did more wraps down at the bottom. So it's actually visible and you can see that touch of silver down there because we're going to add our silver ear wire up top. Easy peasy. And close that guy up. And then what I do just before I get ready to try it on is I look to see how my wire is hanging. So one thing I do is I'll grab my loop up top and I'll actually twist the bottom so that I can get that piece of chain to hang so that the rhinestone is showing outward. And you can play with it a little bit, however you want it to go. You might actually want the loop to be sideways, but that's your earring. Easy project. The cup chain is a little challenging, But once you get used to working with the little cups and the little connectors, super fun.
Super, super cute, Deb. And what I also love about this is that we all learned some technique from Deb Floros on how to connect with cup chain.
Yeah. You're going to want to like get cup chain in every color, in every size. It comes in lots of sizes too. So
it sure does. And those cup chain connectors come in all different sizes also. And there's some different ways that you can get creative with connecting your cup chain to your jewelry projects. But this one right here, and Deb, you showing us how to use those little connectors was really, really fabulous.
I'm glad you like it. I had so much fun using these materials. I knew the minute the pink bag, I saw the pink bag that I was going to have some fun with this kit. So this is really great.
So much fun. And we have got Sara Oehler here. Sara Oehler has just come to the pool. How are you, friend?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm really excited to be here.
I love the hat.
I'm excited to be here with all of you. Yeah, Deb, I agree. That hat is fab.
Yeah, it's my pool beach hat. So when I put it on, the kids were like, whoa, what's going on? Are we going to the pool? And I was like, not right now.
That's well, can I just hold up my design, guys?
Yeah.
I had to go a little rogue with the cup chain because I realized that I had like the prototype photo kit, which didn't have the cup chain connectors in it. But I found something else in my stash that was able to make it work. And I know that through Deb's explanation with those cup chain end findings, that when I do have some cup chain end findings, I'll be able to set my cup chain with ease. So thank you, Deb, for that.
You're
Say it
welcome.
again, Sarah. Can you
Let's
hold
see
it
it.
up? I didn't feel like I got to really see it. Oh, and I think it's on, is it on Deb's
Oh yeah.
place though?
Hold on a second.
Gotta highlight yourself.
Let's see Deb's or see me.
See you and let's see the necklace.
Okay, all right, hang on. Hold on.
I'm putting you on the spot. I want to see your modification.
Thanks.
Oh, is that a different kind of finding that you can get for the cup chain?
Yeah, it's a different kind of finding. It's used for a lot of times for ribbon, but I had it in my stash and I'm like, let me just try this.
Does it like just slide inside of there?
Yeah, it does.
Whoa, that's fancy.
But honestly, I think that the cup chain end findings that came in the kit are going to sit better because this is having a tendency to slide to one side or the other because you see the connection point is just in the middle there. But the way that Deb showed us how to use her, how to use the double jump rings. And actually, I'm going to spotlight Deb really quick so you guys can see this. If Deb, you can hold yours up for everybody.
Ooh.
Okay, so what Deb had done was she has 3 pieces of cup chain. She used 2 jump rings for each, and that just made it kind of sturdier to give it like a wide bail sort of approach. And that, Deb, I've never seen that before. Like snaps for Deb. That was really cool.
It's beautiful, Deb.
Yay. Well, welcome to the pool, everyone. Are you happy it's Friday? Are you happy to be making jewelry? Sarah, let's check in. What's up?
Oh, I'm happy it's Friday for sure. Definitely happy to be making jewelry. I had a busy week. I had my best girlfriend in town that I grew up with. And so we have been just walking all over my little town and having a blast. So I'm actually kind of excited for just sort of like a sitting, calm, relaxed activity.
Yeah.
And I just love, I love summer. I love every season as it comes along because I'm just that kind of person, but I'm really embracing summer this year and embracing the idea of vacation again, now that the pandemic has slowed down a little bit and we can kind of travel. So I was really trying to look for my inner resort wear lady, when I started designing with this kit.
Excellent. And resort wear, Sarah really hits the nail on the head. That was the inspiration for this entire party was the resort wear trio. I think I'm saying it wrong, but it's the resort trio, right?
What was it called? Resort chic? I
Resort
think is
chic.
what it's called.
Resort wear, resort chic, same, Yes, the resort chic trio of soft flex wire was the inspiration for this entire jewelry making party. And Deb really, really took that by storm with her posh pool party jewelry that we now all have sets of. So thank you, Deb, for that. And I feel like Sarah's about to continue the resort chic theme this evening.
Yeah, I think so, for sure. Are
I'm
you
gonna
guys
leave
ready
you-
to take a
I'm
look
gonna
at what I
leave you
have
here.
going on?
Yes. And Deb, thank you so
Thank you
much.
for having me. I'll see you at the after party.
Okay, pool party, after party. We'll see you, Deb. Thanks so much. It's
Bye.
fantastic.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, if you want to spotlight my hand cam, that will help me a lot because
Looks
I'm
so
using my
beautiful.
audio from my other.
I saw Sarah come into the Zoom room when Deb was spotlighted. And Sarah, I saw your hand cam like this. And this is just like a bam, blast of fun right here. I love what we've got going on your screen.
Yeah, and let me know, are you hearing me okay? 'Cause
I'm hearing
using a
perfect.
different setup. Okay, great.
You sound great.
Okay, yeah. So I was really thinking about travel, and I was thinking about how when I travel, I like to have things that I can wear during the day, but then I can maybe change into something else for the night, without having a lot more jewelry. And so I always like things that are sort of interchangeable, or, that you can make really flashy, but then you can make it more really subtle depending on the outfit you're wearing. And so I actually have 3 takes on the same design. And I'm going to show you all of them, but it's going to actually go so quickly, you guys. You're going to be surprised how fast this is going to come together. So first take I already put together here. And basically, if you want to dig out some extra lobster claws, you can interchange all sorts of things if you just do a lobster claw on each side of your design. So I'm also going to show you how you can do just a straight connection. If you're all out of lobster claws and you just want to make one design in one way, I will show you how to do that as well. But if you have extra lobster claws and you want to make things interchangeable, it's going to be real quick and easy to do that. And so we're going to start, I think, with the beaded section. And you can connect that either to the pendant, which comes inside of this beautiful pool party mix, or if you want a very sweet long lariat, you can connect to this chain piece, which I'm going to show you how to make a super long lariat with some cute little shells at the bottom. And unfortunately, this is one of those designs that is very hard to see on camera, but looks fantastic when you're wearing it. So I'll show you all 3 ways on me at the end so that you can see what they look like on as well. So that is a second option. I kind of think of these as both night options. They're a little fancier, a lot of sparkly beads, but really, really lovely. And then your pool option, if you're out during the day or you're just going for a lunch, you can just braid some soft flex. And instead of having this beaded section, I can connect to my braided soft flex. So I'm going to show you all these different cool components, and you can decide how you want to make yours, or you can have all 3 options, because I went through the beads and I was very sure not to use anything anyone else had used yet. So you have all the beads to make these. You just need a couple extra lobster clasps from your own supply if you want to do it 3 different ways. Okay, are we ready? I think we're ready to go. So I'm going to pull this to the side, and we're going to work on this piece first with all of the beads. So to do this, you're going to need the Swimming with a Buddy bead strand. We're also going to need the Pool Party bead mix. We're going to need some 2x2 Softflex crimp tubes. We're going to use the pink tourmaline Softflex beading wire. And then I have used 2 lobster clasps, but if you want to just use some little bead stoppers to hold your ends until you decide how you want to finish it off, you can do that, or even a little piece of tape or something until you're ready to decide if you want to crimp it to the chain directly, or if you want to connect it to your pendant, you know, however you end up putting it together. Okay, so I'm going to get a piece of Softflex. I'm even going to measure this, which is unusual for me, but just to make it easy for all of you out there, I'm going to measure. This is about 18 inches long. So I'm going to say maybe 2 feet of the pink tourmaline would be good. And the pink tourmaline is that same color that Deb was just using. Really, really beautiful color. If for some reason you want to, you could totally use either of these colors too. As you can see, it matches perfectly. So if you like the darker color, the tanzanite, that's an option. You don't have to just use the pink tourmaline if you want to change it up. Okay, I'm gonna open this up and trim off a piece of wire. You can bead right onto your spool like Deb was doing. I think that can be really handy. In this case, I'm just gonna go ahead and bead stopper. And then I'm gonna break open my 2 strands. As usual, Jessie James Beads hit it out of the park with this mix. I think there are still some kits available. So if you still haven't gotten your kit and you want to make any of the designs you've seen over the last 2 days, go grab a supply kit from softflexcompany.com and then grab your bead kit from jessiejamesbeads.com, and you'll have everything that the designers have been using. And we as designers really try hard to not overlap. So you should be able to make pretty close to what we're making with both of those kits. And these are huge bead mixes. There's this one, and then also in the bead kit is the Flamingo Fiesta, which was super cute. I think Brittany Chavers used a lot of that yesterday. And then of course that beautiful pink lemonade strand that, that Deb was using today too. It's fantastic. All right, so look at this huge mix of beads. I went through here. I let Joyce claimed this mix first, and I claimed the bead strand. But Joyce used so much beading wire. She left over so many extra beads. I was like, yes. And I nabbed almost all of her extra beads. I gave Brittany a couple of them, but I nabbed most of them because I wanted to make this long beaded strand. And I'm just going to go through it bead by bead, just in case you're making along with me so that you can make this exact same design. But by all means, if you want to change it up, do. When I went to design this, I knew this was going to be the front connection for my design. And so I really thought about what's going to give me some weight in front and what's going to be light in the back. So I started designing this from the middle back and did the lightest beads in the back to the heaviest beads in front. So that would be my only suggestion if you're doing your own mix of beads, is to kind of think about the weight, because you always want the heaviest weight in front so that it's pulling down in front and doesn't sort of pull up in front and down in back, unless you're using that as a design choice, because you have like maybe an open back and you've got something going on in the back. But if you're trying to use you have your front be centered and, you know, working with gravity, you want a little bit of weight up front. Okay, so starting right here at the bottom, I'm going to grab one of these little flashy, sweet little flashy beads here from the bead mix. I fell in love with these right away because they just add so much sparkle. And then we're going to grab one of these boho beads from the bead strand. And these are hollow on the inside. So sometimes I'll just kind of straighten my wire and then try to shoot it straight through, but it may take you a couple of passes to get it to go from end to end. And of course, when you're doing a video, it takes, 25 minutes longer to get it to go through for some reason. There we go. Okay. And then we've got one of these really great big rondelles. I think that was in the bead mix. Yes. One of those babies. And I can't see comments. So if there's any good comments you want to share, Sarah, by all means, let me know.
Gotcha. Yeah. Thanks for letting me know. And I will be happy to do that honor for you.
So now I'm going to string on my teardrop, and you can have it face whichever direction you want. This is the bottom of my design where I will be putting my connection or my lobster clasp. So I'm going to have the big bottom on the end and the tip on the top, like a teardrop shape. So if you were to look at it in this direction, this is how I'm stringing. Okay, now we need one of those
Potato chip spacers.
Yeah, what are these called?
I call them potato chip spacers because I think they look like Pringles.
A potato chip spacer. I love them. They add such texture. They're really, really pretty. And look at how they make that bead.
Mm-hmm.
It just kind of makes it feel a little more sophisticated.
Well, potato
Okay.
chip.
Next up is this really pretty aqua. And then we're going to grab one of these bicones. And what I loved about this mix was there's so much metal in here, you guys. So I went to town with the metal beads. I tried to place them throughout my design. So now I've got a little bead cap. And make sure you go through the middle of the bead cap, like so. And then I grabbed one of these really pretty ovals. Look at how sparkly that is. So pretty. So I am doing swim lessons with the girls again this year. And so we're at the pool 4 days a week. And this first 2 weeks, I was doing swim lessons with Jack for parent taught, which was fun and I enjoyed it. However, I'm super excited that it's over because now I get to swim laps while they're doing their swim lessons, which is sort of my favorite thing in summer. It's like my favorite exercise activity in the summer. And so I'm really looking forward to being able to start that next week. Oh, so we're looking for this dark blue bead, which comes from the bead strand. And then we are looking for this wavy metal round bead. Now, if for some reason you ended up using some of these beads with one of the other designers, who knows? Don't worry, there's no exact order. You can change it up if you want to, okay? So don't feel like you have to make this exact same design unless you really, really want to. So here we are. I'm up to another little bead cap.
And I'm just curious, who in the crowd right now is making along with us? Who's got their beads out, their bead kit, and is also stringing with Sarah? I am behind camera here, and I find it very therapeutic, Sarah Oehler.
Oh, good. And then who's going to go to the after party and bead with us after? I want to hear that too, because that's what I'm really excited about.
Hey.
And did you just send links out to those who had bought the kit, Sarah? How did that work?
We sure did. Yep. If you bought the kit, you got a link in your email.
Awesome. I'm looking for the other bead cap and I'm not, oh, there it is. It's in here somewhere. Okay, so I've got that little flower bead cap over the top of that tanzanite bead. And I'm going to move my way to this beautiful turquoise glass bead. And if I'm going too fast because you are beading along, just remember you can always go back and pause it and do it at your own speed. Okay, so don't feel like you have to complete it in the same amount of time as me. I've got my little tiny rondelle there with little crystals. And now I've got one of these beautiful turquoise. It's kind of like a little recycled glass bead. And another bead cap. And a sparkle bead. Because who doesn't love a sparkle bead?
Sarah, just looking at the beads on the string that I have in front of me, I really love the flow that you put together for this.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I very rarely just bead a whole piece of wire. I often use the wire as an exposed element. But for this particular design, I thought it would just be so fun to really use all those beads because there were so many beautiful beads in this particular kit. So I'm going to string my next beaded caged bead. And I usually go from the bottom where it's a nice flat side up. So it's almost like it's going through the triangle here behind it. And that way it can kind of jingle to the side a little bit. And then next, oops, I think I missed a bead. Let me get back and go back. One little clear bead before that. These are almost like a little mermaid bead. They have a little AB sheen to them. And I feel like they just add a little bit of magic. So we got to get those in there. And then we can put our triangle from our caged bead. Okay, another little mermaid bead. So it's a clear glass bead with a little bit of a rainbow finish on top of it. And then we're going to work our way to the bicone. What trips does everybody have planned for the summer? Is anybody traveling this summer, or are you guys still staying home? Got a little small rondelle. And a turquoise.
We've got a little bit of a trip in the works coming up in the next few weeks here.
You do? Where are you going?
Well, Axl Rose, our doggy, is turning 1 on July 6th.
Yes.
And his best friend Stash is turning 1 on July 4th.
Oh.
Well, we're planning a little river rafting party for the doggies out near Vale.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, we're really excited.
Oh, so Sarah James, I need you to spill the tea about what's happening with wedding plans.
Oh my
Because
gosh.
everybody loves to hear about a wedding.
Oh, you're so sweet. And I actually really love the term of phrase, spill the tea. I think I'm going to take that from you, Sarah Oehler. Well, we are getting married in September of 2023. So plenty of time for planning, which feels really good. And I don't know, it feels nice to not be rushed. We're meeting with a wedding planner next week. She's going to come to our house, which is great. So she can kind of like see our vibe and like feel our energy and see like, how we live. Yeah, we're like in the very rudimentary planning stages, but it's happening here in Colorado. In the mountains. And I just learned last week that my favorite mountainscape, my favorite view of the mountains from when you're driving from Denver to our home in Evergreen, my favorite view is this huge mountain range. And Rodrigo told me just last week that just behind that range is where we're getting married in Winter Park.
Really?
Yes. So I'm just like all fuzzies and sparkles, all about that.
Oh, I love it. I
Thanks.
can't wait to see pictures. I know you're going to just be such a beautiful bride.
I'm blushing behind the camera again. Thank you.
Congratulations. What a special, special time that is.
So much.
It can also be very stressful. So just remember, it's all about you and Rodrigo.
Yes, I
And
love
nobody
that.
That's all. And my only other regret, I would say, is I didn't have anyone record the wedding. I don't know why. I just didn't. And if I could go back now, I would have somebody videotape it. So make sure you have somebody.
I will make sure of that. And I had thought like, oh, maybe is the video very important, but I appreciate that tip, Sarah, that words of wisdom.
Yeah, because like little things happen and you remember them, but in the moment, it's just so special and overwhelming. It would have been nice to be able to like look at it again with fresh eyes and remember it, like all the little details.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm a details person myself. If you know how we do our Jesse James strands and bead mixes, then you'll know that I am very, very attentive to detail and
For
little
sure.
things. So I'm excited to pour that into a wedding and a celebration of this magnificent love.
That is awesome. So I'm coming down the second side. So this time I'm going to go through the tip of the triangle, not through it, but behind it, I guess is a better way to say it. And then behind the bottom of the triangle and string it. And that way it should hang in a similar fashion to the one on the other side. When I get this all strung, I'm going to give you a second to look at it. And I hope if you have to go back and look at it again, you can then pause the video there and really be able to see the order of the beads and not be too concerned about keeping up with me during this 1 hour time slot. So I got my bead cap. I got a little one of those AB finish beads, a bead cap, and now I'm just going back the other end. If you've been stringing along with me, you'll see I'm just matching the second side to the first side. So I'm just going to go straight down the line, same order of beads. Quick and easy. I couldn't believe how many beads Joyce left behind. I was so excited, Sarah. I was like, yes. Thank you, Joyce. Because I let everybody, since I'm one of the companies that sponsors the event, I let everybody pick before me. And I'll take whatever's left just to, let people work with things that inspired them. And I feel like I'm pretty good with the challenge. So whatever's left is usually good. But I usually end up with a bead strand because those are a little more challenging because there's fewer beads. So I think those are the things that people probably choose, not as quickly unless they're really excited about it. Like I think Deb actually chose that pink lemonade bead strand first, because she was really excited about the color. But at any rate, I ended up with the bead strand, which was fine. But then I saw that Joyce left all these beads and I was like, oh yes, I am gonna bead it up. As many beads as I can get on this sucker. It's going. Okay, so I've got my cage to bead. I'm doing that really nice little bead cap, beautiful oval bead, and another bead cap. And then we're going to do a crystal bead. And this beautiful recycled bead. Do you guys have anything cool going on at Jesse James Beads in the coming weeks, Sarah?
We do. I mean, always, we've got right now, we are prepping for Jesse James Beats summer camp. So we're in the works with that one.
Exciting.
Yeah, we're teaching some cool different techniques at this one that we've never done before. Some more mixed media. So we've got sculpting polymer clay. Cindy Holt, she's fabulous, is coming on to teach us how to make polymer clay beads.
Ooh.
And then we also have Rita from Impress Art that's coming on to teach us how to stamp. So we're working out like what stuff are going to be in the kit. Like that's still TBD. But yeah, I'm really excited about that. And then we've already sold a bunch of spots. So if you're looking into summer camp, don't wait too long. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, that is awesome. So I've got all my beading done. I'm just going to take my bead stopper. We have these in a number of colors, but mostly red, I think, is left, and then plain stopper as well. But I like the tips because they're just easy to see, especially if they like fall on the floor or, end up on your desk rather than on your bead table. They're real easy to find in red or a bright color like orange. So I've got my beading done. I'm just going to kind of set that aside and we're going to do the next section. So in fact, let's just put it up here. Oh, actually, before I go, I'm just going to hold it here for a second. And that way, if you want to pause it and close in on it later, you can do that to see where all those beads are. Easy. Okay. Now that we've got that out of the way, I'm going to work on my beaded chain portion. So I've got 2 of these pieces. I just realized I don't have 2 more of these little shells that I got from the Softlex kit. So I'm going to do some quick thinking. I think I'm just going to cut it apart and remake it to make it easy. So let me do that. I'll keep one together and we'll cut one apart. Okay, so here's how we make these 2 pieces. So you're going to have one long piece of chain like this in your kit. So the first thing I want you to do is just to open up this little split ring and free your chain from it. If you want to just cut it open too, you can do that, or you can keep it. And maybe you'll find that little piece useful for something someday. And that's going to leave you with one long piece that has ends that look like this. Okay. So the way I went about doing this is I went ahead and found the center of my chain. Let's see where that was. And I made one that was longer than the other. And so when I go to tie it as a lariat, it doesn't need to be the same length anyway. And in fact, it's kind of nice if it's not. So, so it's totally okay to make it a little bit different on each side. So I want, let me see, make sure I'm doing it the right way. I want 4 beads and then I'm going to cut it off. So, and I'm going to connect up here at the top. So I've got my 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there are little links between the bead and the chain. And that is where I'm going to cut with my little snippers here. So don't cut your chain part. You want to go right in between those 2 pieces and snip it. And then I've got my 2 pieces of chain. I think I ended up trimming this little chunk off on this other end too. So again, I'm going to go that little ring that's between the chain and the link. That's where I'm cutting so that I get those 2 clean ends to connect to. And then you'll have this little piece left. Just set that aside for something else. Okay, yeah, that looks right. Okay, so next I wanted to make little links that I could very easily connect my jump rings to. Also could be very easy to connect your cold connection, your crimp to it if you want to. So that is what I'm going to work on next. I'm going to grab the Softflex craft wire. This is our 22 gauge craft wire. This is a copper core wire. It has a silver plating, and then it has a coating over it that keeps it that bright, beautiful silver color forever. It comes in a lot of different gauges. In the kit, we put a 22 gauge, which I think is a really nice gauge because it'll work with a lot of different things. But you can get a thinner or thicker gauge too if you want to buy it in this color or other colors. And then I'm just going to take my nylon jaw pliers and kind of run over the top of it to clean up any kinks or anything, any funny business happening. And I'm just going to trim off a nice sized piece. Sometimes I'll work right off the spool, but I don't do that as much when I'm demonstrating because it's just easier to not have that extra thing kind of hanging off the end. Okay, so for this, I did, I think, 2 different sized connections. So I'm going to use these really fun pliers that have 6 steps to them. And you can see there's a small and then there's a little bit bigger. So I used the smaller one on the bottom to connect to the chain and the bigger one on the top to connect to my lobster clasp. And I took these little spoke wheels out of the mix for this. So the way you're going to do this is you're going to take your fun little pliers, and with the bigger side toward you, you're just going to create a little 90-degree angle. Go over the top of the smallest size, move your plier to the side, and then pull it under to create your round little circle. So easy. And then this is the piece that we will actually connect to the chain. So I'm going to pick up my chain link and I'm just going to slide that on. And then I'll just take my chain nose pliers and hold on. And wrap. You can just wrap a couple times and then trim. Everything going on okay out there, Sarah? Any questions or anything I should know about?
Everyone is saying that the projects are really, really awesome. And Dee was asking if these videos are going to be available later, but I think you already covered that one without even seeing the question, that yes, these videos will be available later to watch. Stop.
Absolutely. Yeah, and usually Softflex will add it to our YouTube channel and we'll do a blog with all the photos and videos together. So that'll be a really nice resource for finding everything. All right, so I did my link. I strung my little wheel guy here, and then I'm going to come in, and this time, since I want to make a bigger loop, I'm going to flip my plier and I'm going to have the smaller size closer to me, the bigger size away from me. And I'm going to go just a little bit above that wheel. So it should be able to kind of move around a little bit. And then I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to kind of bend it toward me, away from me, move my plier, and then come under to make my loop. Now here, I don't need to worry about connecting anything yet. I'm just going to go ahead and wrap. And you wrap right down to that spacer bead. And you'll feel it kind of lock in place to where it's not sort of tipping back and forth. And that's when you know you've got it right. It should just sort of go in a circle around that. Okay, so I'm going to come in, and you can wrap back up if you want. If you like a messier wrap or you want more wire there, that's totally okay. Just going to trim. This is a really handy thing to know anytime you need just like a cool, easy connection for something, to be able to use the craft wire and just make a quick little link is super handy. So that's the one end. And then the second end, we're going to do a similar thing, but with the beads. So I'm going to now nip this one off. And we will just use these same beads so that I can nip off my shell. So you should have gotten this shell in the Softlex supply kit. It's not a shell we normally carry. It's the only place you can get it from us is in the supply kit. But what's so pretty about this is it's double-sided. It's made by Tierra Cast, our friends here in Sonoma, California, or Sonoma County, California. And I just thought it was so pretty, so I had to throw it in there. Okay, so I'm going to get another nice length of Softlex craft wire. And same deal here. I'm just going to clean up my wire. Over there, so it's out of the way. And down here, I just did the small connection. So the bigger side is closer to me, 90-degree angle, up and over, move your plier. You get a beautiful little loop. And then here I'm connecting to my chain on the other side. So just kind of snap that on there, grab that link with my trusty chain nose pliers and wrap. So we have a ton of stuff coming up for Softlex. We just launched our Great Bead Extravaganza kit because Great Bead Extravaganza Midsummer Market is coming next month in July. We have our takeover day for that next week, next Wednesday. So Kristen and I will be doing a special coffee and craft wire for that, which is always fun.
Sounds like a great time.
Oh, we're gonna have so much fun. And then we have our Aloha kit is in the shop right now too. And that's gonna be, I think, revealed next week already. So if you're into summer vibes like this pool party kit, you're gonna love Aloha.
You're gonna love Aloha.
It's such a pretty kit, and we jam-packed it with a lot of fun stuff. It's pretty great. Okay, so
and strands for that one, Sarah.
Yeah, you guys did a really great job with Aloha. It's so pretty. And we have some of the bead strands still left, I think, if you guys check it out in our shop at softlexcompany.com. Okay, so I'm making one more link down here. Same thing. I've got my bigger side was closest to me so that I can make that small link on the top. And then I just throw my shell on there. Easy peasy. Okay, and then just wrap. And if you wanted to like wrap up further and go around the beads, you could totally do that. There's so much opportunity for making these designs your own, putting your own little spin on it. And so that is how you make one of these connectors. And the other one is pretty much just like it. It's just connecting to a bare end of the chain and the beaded end. So we just need 2 of those. We'll slide that out. And then this thing, I took the pendant and made that same kind of link that we used at the top. So same link, and I added it to the pendant. And so that was a second way that you can wear this necklace. So depending on if you want to use your lobster clasps on either side of the necklace or not, you can connect here directly, which is what I'm going to show you just in case you don't have extra lobster clasps. Or you can just crimp the 2 ends to lobster clasps. And then that gives you the ability to interchange things So if I want to attach to my pendant, I just crimp or clip these right on there. See how that works? If I want to attach to the chain, I just clip these right on here. And then I've got a totally different design than if I were using the pendant. I've got a long, beautiful lariat. And what's great about using the chain in the front on this lariat is that it ties super nicely. It'll tie up really sweetly to look so, so pretty in a beautiful long design. Okay, so let me show you crimping. Whether you're crimping to the lobster clasps or directly to the design, I'm going to leave up to you. But I'm going to crimp right to these chains so that you can see what that looks like if you don't want to have all the interchangery that I love. Okay, so I'm going to grab one of my crimps. You should have gotten some beautiful Softflex crimp tubes in your kit. And we really do make what I think are the very best crimp tubes out there.
Sarah, sorry about that.
Oh, go ahead.
No, we've said it has come up in every single class and through the comments, every class that Softflex crimps are the best. So take it away.
They are. Oh, thank you. Yeah, they are. What makes them great is they're solid tubes. There's no seam. They're a little bit thicker than most. And so it just makes them really, really great, good quality crimps. So you string your crimp tube, string through your connection or your lobster clasp, and then go ahead and bring that connection down to whatever size you want. Straighten out your wires inside of your crimp tube, and then grab your handy dandy little magical crimpers and go ahead and compress. And then go in sideways and compress in those little ravioli corners and go ahead and go around and around that crimp. Taking the crimp tube edges and crimping them down into the nylon coating of the wire and making a really strong, beautiful connection with your crimp. And then you're going to come in and just trim right up to that crimp bead. It's going to look like a beautiful little metal bead. Easy peasy. Move your beads all the way down. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And then before I go, I will show you a third option very quickly that you can also do with this design. If you prefer to not have it all beaded, you can do some braided wire up the backside, and that can give it a more subtle look. It's not quite so sparkly, which I'm a big fan of sparkle, but there are times where maybe you're at a kid's party and you don't need quite so much sparkle. Or maybe you just don't want the weight of all those beads because it's such a hot day and you want something really light. Then, Softflex beading wire braided can be really lovely too. So I'm doing the same thing on the other side, but I'm just crimping to the second chain. And I'm just gonna compress and then go around and tighten down. And don't forget, if you haven't gotten one of these kits, go to softflexcompany.com, get the supply kit, go to Jesse James Beads and get the bead kit. There's only a few left. So now is the time while they're still there. You can make tons of beautiful designs watching the videos that we made today. So before I go, I'll show you what this looks like on, but let me show you the braided part. So you have that option too. So reset. Here we go. Where did my braided part go? I feel like I'm on a marathon. Here's my braided piece. And I think this is probably another place where you're going to want 2 feet in each of the colors. Or if you want, you can braid just one color. I did all 3. I think that looks really fun. But perhaps you want to do all pink tourmaline, then you would have 3 pieces in 24 inches, or all dark blue, or all tanzanite. You choose, okay? You can mix, or you can do one color. So I'm just going to grab, why do I do all dark blue this time? So I've got quite a bit here. So 2 feet is about my arm's length. And that's about right. I'm going to get 3 of those pieces out. So in your kit, you got 3 10-foot spools of soft flex beading wire. And these are some of my favorite summer colors together. They just remind me of like a really fun swimsuit or caftan. I just think they look really stunning together. And soft flex beading wire comes in lots of different colors though. So you can get all sorts of shades of blues and greens, and we have a beautiful purple, lots of colors to work with. All right, so I've got all 3. I'm gonna take my 3, looking for my lobster clasps here. I'm gonna take my 3 wires and I'm gonna string 1 2x2 millimeter crimp tube. I'm going to take one of these wires and I'm going to string my lobster clasp. I'm going to go back into that crimp tube, and then I'm just going to pull this up. Make sure you don't lose your 2 extra wires though. I'm going to push those out just a little bit more because I don't want those. Let's see which ones are which. I don't want those coming out of my crimp. Okay. Let's put those on the other side here. Oh, wire, don't be fidgety. It's Friday night. I won't have it tonight. There we go. Okay, so what we're doing is we're just going to bring this loop down. Let's tug from the bottom so we stop fidgeting with the wire. So you make 1 loop with your lobster clasp connected, and you have these 2 extra wires. They can be a little long. It doesn't really matter because we're going to cut it off. You go ahead and get those magical crimpers. It's really important that you center your crimp tube inside of the crimping pliers. Center, and you should get what looks like a little 4-corner ravioli. Turn it on its side and compress, and just go nice and slow around the whole thing, making sure the entire edge of your crimp tube has gone into that nylon coating. Okay, then I'm going to come in with my cutters. You'll see I use the flat side toward the crimp, slide in as close to that crimp as I can get, and trim. And there I have, and then this one too on the other side. Get in there and trim nice and close. No one will even know that little wire was there. And then all you have to do, guys, this is so easy. It's like braiding hair. All you're doing is taking your 3 wires, and you're taking left over right to the center, right over left to the center, left over right to the center. And you just keep going back and forth, just like you were braiding your hair like Laura Ingalls Wilder. And just keep going all the way down to the other side. And then you just connect on the other side, just like the first side. You take all 3 wires through a 2x2 millimeter crimp tube, string one of those wires through the lobster clasp or your design if you're choosing to cold connect to your chain. And then 1 wire back through the crimp tube and crimp it with the magical crimpers. And that gives you your 3rd option for this necklace, and this time in dark blue. So I'm going to go, if we could go face forward, I want to show all these options. Is that okay, Sarah?
Oh, you betcha.
I'm not sure I can do this with my hat, but we're going to work it out. We'll see how it works here. Okay, so let's show this option first. The long dangle option. Let me take my really special, Nile made me this pretty necklace that I was wearing. Okay, so it's one long piece. It goes around your neck, under your hair braid, and then you're just going to tie it at the top. And it's going to have one long chain dangle with your little charms at the bottom.
Oh my gosh, that's adorable.
Isn't it so fun?
It's really fun.
And then the wire will work the same way. It's just replacing the beads. And then the third one, if I can get to it. The third one was this guy. And it just connects in the front too. It's just you're taking your two lobster clasps. And I don't know if I can do this without a mirror, but we're going to try. You're just taking your two lobster clasps and connecting to your pendant. And then you've got a cute short design, a long, very sparkly lariat, and then a more daytime, calmer looking lariat as well. And that gives you lots of different beautiful beaded options.
Oh, it's fabulous. Oh my goodness gracious.
Isn't that fun?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Super so fun. I'm so excited about all of them. I didn't realize that we were getting like a triple dipper with Sarah.
I know. Well, I didn't even realize it could do this until today. And I had been thinking about it. And then today I've had my girlfriend in town, so I've been busy. And today I finally got all my beads out again. And I was like, I'm going to try that pendant. I'm pretty sure Joyce didn't use the pendant. And then I looked back at her picture and I still, Brittany made a bracelet, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have to go back and watch the videos because I had to miss them yesterday, unfortunately, but nobody used this beautiful pendant that was in the mix. And I was like, oh, that would make a perfect centerpiece for the beaded part if you needed a short necklace rather than a long necklace.
Yeah, it's really awesome. It's so stunning. And I love that you can make all these different components and you can just pick what your mood is or pick what your outfit is for that moment. And you have a piece of jewelry to go with it, because not every jewelry piece, not every outfit are you going to wear a short necklace. Like not every outfit you're going to wear a long necklace. Oh, hey.
Might as well come on in.
Come on in. We're at the virtual pool party right now.
Right. Yeah. It's dinner time here at the Oehler house. So everybody always starts looking for me around this time. This is my oldest daughter, and
Hi.
I love her to pieces.
Oh my goodness. Do you like to make jewelry too?
This is Sarah James from Jessie James Beads. She's the one who sends all the sparkly beads that you love.
That's true. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like this. I bet you would love this bead string.
Really?
Look at, did you see your eyes?
That bead strip
Ooh.
called Pink Lemonade.
Isn't that pretty?
And we got to make this really cool piece of jewelry with it. Take a look.
Ooh.
Why did you make one, Mom?
I know, I didn't get a chance to because I was working on my design, but my friend Deb made that. Isn't that cool? All right, little lady, I'm going to finish up here and then I'll come find you after. All right. Sound good?
You're taking a photo.
No, I think that's just my computer.
Doing.
All right, out you go.
Silly, Mom.
Love you lots. Will you go and close the door, please?
Oh my gosh, my heart.
Thank you. Oh, she wants to say bye.
Hi.
All right, bye, honey.
I miss you.
I know. Out the door you go. I'll see you in a little bit.
Soon?
Very soon.
Are your hearts just melting right now? She's so sweet.
She is, and she's very inquisitive, and she always wants to be in the middle of everything. Oh, especially on a Friday night. She's like, why is my mama in this room? We're
Yeah,
supposed to
let's
be
her,
hanging
let-
out.
That's great. That's really, really awesome. How sweet.
Yeah. Well, thanks for putting this together with us, Sarah James. It's always so fun when Softlex Company and Jesse James Beads get together. I feel like our wire and all of your sparkly beads just go together so beautifully. And then I think, you know, the designs that Brittany and Deb and Joyce made, it's Joyce's first time at one of these parties, and she just blew it out of the water. Has been so fun to see.
Yes, we really, at Jesse James Beads, we really enjoy working with you guys at Softlex all the time, whether it's, you know, doing stuff for the monthly Softlex kits or these really fun events. It's always a blast getting to hang out and to get to dream up and imagine something really cool. So Sarah, my love, my heart, my hat's off. My hat is off to you.
Likewise. And I hope if you guys didn't get one of the kits, you'll check it out. There's one at softflexcompany.com and then a companion piece at jessejamesbeads.com. And then, of course, both companies have lots of other things that you can check out too. Softlex Company has the Aloha design kit, which has some Jesse James beads in it and has some matching strands that go along with it. We also have a brand new Twilight bead mix and I think 2 bead strands from Jesse James Beads on our website that just launched this week. They're beautiful, perfect for summer, and will play really nicely with this kit too. They have some similar color vibes that'll be fun to work with.
And what's fun about the items that Sarah just mentioned, Jesse James Beads, we're a design house. And when we design for Softlex, that is exclusive only to Softlex. So it's a blast getting to dream up some cool things based on the colors that you guys direct us with. So thank you for allowing us to share this creative space with you. It's really a treat.
Absolutely. So tell us about the after party. What does everybody need to do? Where do we go?
All right. So after party is happening on Zoom. Check your email. The email link is in there. Okay. If for some reason you didn't get a link, shoot a message over to Facebook and I will take a look for the first maybe 15 minutes of the party. We're going to go click over to that link. Your code to enter is pool, like a swimming pool. And basically we're just going to make some jewelry, but maybe something that's on your beading mat, a project from this last 2 nights of event, maybe something else you're working on. But basically we're all just going to turn our cameras on, hang out, and bead.
And a few of us designers will be there. So if you have questions about the design I made today, or you want to see something up close, it's an opportunity to ask those questions. So I'm looking forward to that. And then I can't wait to just kind of dive into some of my leftover beads here and make something else.
Cool.
I think I need a bracelet. I have all these necklaces, maybe some earrings.
I have got your project right here that I'm ready to finish up. And I'm going to say, let's break right now so we can all get ourselves over to the Zoom room. Go grab yourself a beverage, maybe something adult or just something refreshing, a little snack to get you going. And we'll be hanging out for the next hour over at the pool party after party on Zoom. So I will see you there. And Sarah, I'll see you there.
That sounds great. I'll see you in a little bit.
Okay, bye everyone. See you in a minute.